Hi everyone. So, I want to share a very important message with everyone today, and that has to do with allowing the desire that you have in your heart for depth. The divine feminine goes very, very deep. The divine feminine is represented by waters, for instance, and waters go very deep, like in an ocean, for instance. The emotions, the emotional um, body, and just like the depth of various emotions, it can really, really, really take you very, very deep. But the unfortunate reality is that the way the world works, the matrix programming is extremely, extremely superficial. So, nobody is allowed to go that deep. At least emotional depth is not encouraged. Maybe intellectual depth, because we live in a very over masculinized world, which is not even a healed masculine, template. We are encouraged to go intellectually deep. So you may want to, for instance, pursue a PhD, and go very, very deep into one topic and then go even deeper and try to make sense of, some very, very remote parameters, impacting a certain outcome, and go extremely, you can over intellectualize it, in the social sciences or in the pure sciences or anywhere else, and just simply speaking, this kind of an intellectual dissection, this kind of an intellectual depth is encouraged. It's not always that you find resonance with this. Not everybody is a taker for intellectual depth also, but you will still have some people who are ready, to have your intellectual depth, to create space for your intellectual depth. But what the divine feminine really craves, what she really craves in her heart, the feminine energy, she craves emotional depth rather than intellectual depth. So, how she can do this is that, sometimes because she knows that there is no resonance for her emotional depth, she can sometimes, because of the whole template of the masculine, the overly masculine template which is exerting itself in the world today, she can start to crave this depth through intellectual pursuits as well, where she would like to go very, 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 very deep into analyzing things and trying to find out the reason for something through this and through that. I used to be like that, completely like that. But what I really craved deep inside was emotional depth, right? Because the intellectual depth would never be very satisfying, or it would just seem very, after a while, you become wiser and you start to see that, it's really not taking you anywhere. And it is limited because it doesn't have any room for intuition, it doesn't have any room for love, it doesn't have any room for any other emotion. So you start seeing the limitation of intellectual depth, which is bereft of, emotional depth. Okay. So as a divine feminine, those of you who are listening, who identify as this feminine energy, you will always crave an emotional depth. Right from your childhood till now, you can figure it out. You were always craving to be recognized for how you felt. Whether it was a feeling of, being accepted, whether it was a feeling of being seen, whether it was a feeling of being acknowledged, whether it were very, very deep things that you felt. Maybe you felt very deep empathy, maybe you loved plants or animals, or you played with your dolls, or whatever games that you got involved with, you were very deep and very passionate about it. Maybe you enjoyed poetry, you enjoyed art, something, maybe nature, some flowers. You can see how children are very, very deep. They can go very deep if you allow the children to go very deep into some things. Children can be very participative with things around them, and they can be very, very curious. For instance, imagination is something that children are very good at. They can imagine so many scenarios, and they love to sort of live through that, and they love the depth of those imaginations as well. If you were a child, if you watched a lot of cartoons which are very imaginative, right? Maybe if you can remember how you liked certain cartoons being very deep. Cartoons are not all fun and play. It's not all Tom and Jerry. it goes beyond, it has a story, it has a background, and there are so many such that many of you would have liked, many of you would have wondered about. Deeper themes come out of these things. For instance, Harry Potter is one, which when you're reading as a child, I remember when I started reading Harry Potter, I was very young, and it used to be, the buzz and everything, right? Because the books were still coming out at the time when I was in school. And the messages of Harry Potter went deeper than just, war between Harry and Voldemort. It was something deeper. There were messages about love, there were messages about friendship, there were messages about mentorship, there were messages about, excitement and curiosity and wonder and all of those things that went so deep. This is why it cut across all generations and everybody wanted to feel it in their hearts. The stories basically spoke to the heart. It wasn't just magic, and it wasn't just war. It was something very, very deep that people craved that deep friendship. You crave that deep bond. You crave that deep understanding, like something as simple as Dumbledore understanding, just by looking into Harry's eyes, what Harry's intentions are like, right? When he started the Dumbledore's army, for instance, I think in the fifth book, The Order of the Phoenix, you could see that, the way when Dumbledore discovers, I think many of you've read Harry Potter or you've seen the movie enough number of times, then you remember it. When he discovers, what Harry had done, like he hadn't sort of asked Harry to create an army like that, but just feeling the feeling that Harry had in his heart, the love, respect, and the trust, and the faith, and everything in him, that he was able to sense. Why am I saying all of this? Basically, is just to tell you that we all loved those moments. We all loved and craved, for the same connection within us, that somebody can show to us how much, we mean to them. And we can go deeper into love, and we can go deeper into relationships. So this is the depth, which these popular novels, these books, some movies, if we see, Christmas movies these days, everybody is watching them, or you see some TV series, and you basically are always craving that depth, And especially as a divine feminine, you are more drawn to these things. You are more drawn to rom-coms, You are more drawn to feeling things deeply, Maybe art is something that really captures your imagination, or poetry really, really touches your heart. It can be anything, that really just you can feel it in your heart, something that stirs your soul, because your soul wants to go deeper. Your soul does not want flimsy, it does not want superficial. This is why you struggle in relationships, or you have in the past maybe struggled with narcissistic connections, or connections, with the karmic nature, where everything was superficial, everything was driven by money or sex, or, just something like maybe just, an arrangement to feel comfort, maybe just an arrangement to move to a country of your choice, or to have money in, or something like that. That has never appealed to you. In your heart, you knew this was not going to give me joy, right? You knew you wanted deeper. You wanted a deeper connection. You wanted, in your heart, you craved something really, really beautiful, something that's it's speaking to your soul. And you've experienced this with your twin flame. Why is it so triggering, to be with your twin? Is because it triggers all of these fears, of coming close, of going deeper. And your twin will not operate with you at a superficial level. If you have not gone deep inside you, if you have not gone into your emotions, your twin will not go deep with you either. It's so simple, when divine feminines are thinking about, why is my twin flame breadcrumbing me? Why has he not talked to me? Or, why does he speak of superficial stuff? Why does he not speak of the love we have or the connection we have? It is because somewhere you haven't gone there yourself. Have you allowed yourself to feel your feelings fully? Or are you still sometimes trapped by fear? Sometimes we have traumas which are stuck in our hearts, we have low self-worth wounds. We still give our power away to our families, for instance. We still care about the judgment of society. I want to be validated by the society, even if I don't care. On paper, I will say it's the societal conditioning and the societal programming. But deep in my heart, I'm really, really craving that validation. I really want, my uncle or my aunt or my cousins and my other family members to look at me and be wowed by me, or just sort of be all like intimidated by me, or recognize my achievements. I want my friends, my family friends, to still recognize who I am, that I am worthy because of the things that I have done, right? That is just, do we ever go and, be honest here that we are still seeking their validation? Do we ever be that honest where we are still um, understanding, that at some point of time in our childhood, a turning point came where we stopped feeling like we were loved and accepted for who we were, and instead we started to wear a mask to feel more accepted? Has that happened? Can we go deeper into that? And it's not possible for your mind to take you there. It's just possible for your soul to take you there. So, whenever your soul shows anything to you which is traumatizing, where you just know there is a lot of fear, if you can go there, you can go deeper into that. Remember, you are cultivating, that pathway with your twin flame of feeling the depth of connection that you are craving in your soul, but you are so afraid of it manifesting on the outside. It's nothing to do with your twin flame. You have to stop blaming your twin flame for everything and anything. It has everything to do with you. It's your journey. It is up to you to really, discover the depths of your femininity, discover the depths of your divine feminine nature, discover the depths of being a human being, discover the depths of the inner union of your masculine and feminine polarity. Have that space for the masculine energy. All of that takes, an intense clearing first to happen, the clearing of the old, clearing of past traumas, past limitations, past ways of thinking, past ways of being, and fears, around intimacy, fears around coming closer to somebody in love. So all of that is very profound, and it is very, very important, for you to tap into. And one thing, that I would tell you is that when you are ascending on this journey, you have very little patience for superficiality. Like, I realize this, the bit that I'm speaking of about depth. I have always craved depth, even when I was a child. I used to crave depth, which is why I used to read more rather than watch more, because books used to be, they used to go deeper. I used to not see movies when I grew up, but instead I used to see TV series. I would not see a movie for years and years, but just TV series that went very, very deep and, into the full analysis of everything. And intellectually, I was very driven into, I worked in research and, policy, where I was all about finding solutions to things by going into the intellectual depth of those things, looking at everything from a multidisciplinary standpoint. I've studied several subjects of the social sciences, to come into interdisciplinary like research solutions and stuff like that. And this was what was I really craving in all of this was just depth. And that was a depth which I never found in any connection, in any relationship. Occasionally in some friendships I used to find depth, but those friendships, used to become very toxic for me because they were mirroring back certain patterns of abandonment and low self-esteem and low self-worth and powerlessness and helplessness inside of me. So it made me very afraid of then opening myself up, of going deeper, into any connection, going deeper into any friendship. And consequently, a lot of the friendships that started to come my way after this fear, really took root in my heart were friendships that were superficial, that would feel so dry, or that would maybe on the surface look like, they would go deep, but they wouldn't go deep enough. And you only realize this, as Khalil Gibran said this in the poem The Prophet, the book that he wrote, The Prophet, and it's an excellent book, and I'm sure many of you have read it. Like the stanzas, from the whole book really had a very deep impact on me. And I remember one thing used to be like my status update was that for only the hand of life can contain your heart, Um, which means that the depth of your heart, what you truly desire, what you truly want, cannot be contained by another person. Why your twin flame is able to contain it, only when you both are healed, is because, first of all, you have started to allow the divine, to hold your heart. The divine truly understands your depth. So there is nobody else who will understand your depth. Like in my connection, like before I met my twin, many years before that, when I had very deep experiences, I started having deep experiences with the divine in the form of my guru. The most satisfying thing was to finally be understood, to finally be seen, and anybody who has the capability to see you will only have it in the proportion in which they have seen themselves. This is why therapy and conventional, psychotherapy cannot really help you on your twin flame journey, because you have gone way deeper than the therapist will ever do it if the therapist doesn't have an awakening. You know, you've gone beyond the mind, you've gone beyond the psychology. You have started to feel traumas which are buried in you, which to modern day psychology may not seem very relevant, or, or whatever is their approach of it. But your depth now has started to unravel, and only the divine can, understand your depth, the depth of your emotions. Nothing is to be invalidated. If you felt left out as a child, people will tell you, "Arey, grow up, what nonsense, like now you're an adult, don't worry about what happened to you at 6 years of age." But that emotion is still trapped inside of you. The 6-year-old girl inside of you is still craving, that validation, and is still wondering what's wrong. And you're still operating from that, emotional, that blocked emotion standpoint of afraid of opening your heart or wearing a mask to please other people, right? So, this depth of who you are, the depth of your emotions, the depth of the pain you felt, the depth of the sadness you experienced, and the depth of joy that is possible for you, the depth of love that you are and that you crave, the depth of a friendship is something that you will really uncover, and you will really start to go more and more into if you free yourself, from the clutches of superficiality, from the clutches of people pleasing, from the traumas that make you live a small life, live a very, very small life, like I will only express myself this much because I'm too afraid. You release all of that, and you go into the depths of, your connection with divinity first, because really even your connection with your twin is divine, and there is so much depth which is present, in your connection with your twin. This is why you start experiencing it telepathically, you start experiencing it in unspoken emotions, you experience it in experiencing their energies. That's just basically telling you this is the depth of who you are. You're more than your mind, and you're more than your body, you're more than the collective experiences that you've gone through. So when you are awakening, your divine feminine energy is awakening, and you're going through the process of clearing everything. It's important that you give yourself this due credit and go deeper. Go deeper, whether it's into anything that comes up for you, go deeper into that. If you're pursuing an art, please take the leap and pursue that art the way you need to. Write poetry if you're writing poetry fearlessly. This used to be my block. I've been a poet since I was 14, or maybe even earlier. And there used to be a lot of people pleasing in my poetry sometimes, I would not go completely bare-hearted on poetry about love and pain and all of that. But that has changed a lot now. My poetry in the last, I would say, since I came on this journey, it became more bold, and it became more sort of honest and, unafraid of just saying anything that's coming to you. Art is very bold sometimes. You can see art, like artists are not, trying to cover up stuff. If they want to make like some nude art, they're out there and they're making that nude art, you know. Um, and it may not have been, sensible to so many conservative people in the past, especially, when you see old art coming in from hundreds of years ago, you see the romantic era art. And I'm not very well versed with, the ages of art, like how what ages art really went through, and European art went through, and then Indian art may have gone through its own, and other local art would have had its own sort of renaissance moments and gone through various changes and shifts. But you can actually see that there would always have been, some conservative check on your true expression. And somewhere, even we within ourselves have the ego check, which is, curtailing and holding back. It's trying to hold us back from our creative expression, from the expression of who we truly are. When you're dancing, this is very evident, you would dance to please people, or you would dance in a conservative way, or dance in a way which is just to be, pleasant, or which is just suitable or decent or something like that. But when you're alone, sometimes, you can just start dancing. Whatever comes out of your body is fine. It's anyway a liberation for you, a liberation of, the muck that you have gathered. So, simply speaking, we will only experience the depth in our twin flame journey in proportion to the depth that we will experience within us. And in this process of the awakening of, your feminine energy, try to have as deep experiences as you can, go as deep as you want to, go deeper into meditations, go deeper into your healing, go deeper into nature, do wild things if you want to do them. Don't be afraid, don't have a fearful heart, which is still sort of shackled by what my parents will think, what will someone else think. If you have some money in your account, go and spend that money on doing something wild. Why don't you go on a wild adventure on your own, of course, with all, normal safety measures that you would follow, but go deeper. Like, I experienced this change as well, within me. Till I was Before I met my twin, I would still have some superficiality in me in terms of the experiences that I wanted to have. But after, coming into the twin flame journey, my experiences, I was more open to going deeper. I was open to doing things which were more of the extreme nature. Like, spiritually speaking, I would go for retreats, which were deeper, which meant that I would not have my phone for many, many days, and that it would be completely switched off. I was okay with it, Before my twin flame journey, it would be unthinkable for me to do this, right? Then something else, like, I just started to take more risks, because I just felt like I want to go deeper. What is this holdback? What is this whole thing that, don't do this, don't do that, bad things will happen to you if you do this, Why? Like, go on that hike you want to go on, if you've never traveled alone. I think many of you may have already done that, but if you haven't, just go and plan like a trip alone, for yourself. Nothing bad will happen to you, and take that risk, go into workshops and completely lose yourself. So many times, I see this, that a spiritually oriented workshop or a healing workshop, it always has the space for you, that where you can be yourself, where you can cry, you can let go, and you can go crazy. And these spaces, hold that space for you. But some people are afraid to take that leap. So don't be one of those fearful people. Look into retreats, that are going deeper, where you trust people who are going to be able to take you, deeper, because they themselves have gone very deep. It's very, very important to do that. Go on a spiritual trip if you want to. Go to visit, some places that you've been willing to go to. Save up money and do that. Push yourself physically if you wanted to go on a trek on the in the mountains somewhere, and that, you have the physical strength to do it with just some training and just some discipline. You'll be able to do that. You do that. Experience the depth that your soul is calling you to experience in your friendships as well. If you have flimsy friendships, some of us have those dead weight connections where nothing ever goes deep. I have had that problem for the longest time, where there were all of these peripheral friendships that used to, keep coming up in my life all the time, where I would give my heart and soul to this friendship because that was a representation of my nature, to always go deep, to always understand somebody in the depth that they had. But I would never feel that reciprocation coming from that person. That was simply because that person had never gone deep enough to hold that space for the depth that I had. Which is what, brings me back to that quote from the Prophet by Khalil Gibran, like, for only the life of the hands of life can contain your hearts. It's the life that will understand your depth. It's the divine that will understand your depth. And once you delve deeper into the depth within you, and you don't need that validation from outside, you participate, with life fully and deeply and completely and wholly, you will start seeing people who will hold your depth. Right? I mean, I make these podcasts here. I think I speak of fairly deep things. that I know many people will not listen to otherwise, in normal day to day life. But some of you are listening and resonating. What does this even mean? It means that maybe for many others this is not, a good platform, because I'm not doing any predictions and I'm not speaking of, popular things. My titles are not very enticing, but they are just what they are. For some of you it's just, yeah, maybe even if it resonates with five of you, then it's a tribe of beautiful five, six people, who understand it, who feel it, like, yes, I have that need for depth. I know that I want that. You start to claim that depth. You go deeper and you will find, life will reward you with people and with situations that will resonate with that depth. People who are also pulsating with the same energy to go deeper, to understand something deeper. You only find your twin flame, when you have connected deeper within yourself. I mean, you will only find that stability in your connection when you have gone very, very deep, when you have cleansed away the blocks, when you are ready to allow, that entire force of love, when no barrier inside of you is resisting, the force of love of your twin flame. And also, simply speaking, complete acceptance about who you are, because there is a certain vulnerability needed. If you have shame about yourself in any of the places within you, then it will become very, very difficult to have that openness on your journey, to have that openness with your twin flame who will see you exactly as you are. Why is the runner chaser dynamic even happening? One of the reasons for this is that one is very afraid of being seen for who they are. And it's not just the divine masculine who is afraid. The divine feminine is also very afraid of being seen for who she is, right? She also doesn't want to share her vulnerabilities just like that with her twin. There is shame there, there is some belief system there that I'm not good enough or something of the sort. So, all in all I'm trying to say is go as deep as you want to. You can only go with another human being, it's just your twin who will go as deep. But that is also because the twin is you. And so basically, the onus is on you to go as deep as you wish to. If you want, you can completely avoid superficial friendships. You can have love in your heart for everyone. But anything that is draining for you or that is just not holding the space for your depth, excuse yourself from that situation and instead align with something which goes deeper. Nature always holds, space for your depth. You don't have to go and do some activity in nature, but you can just be in nature and you will see that the depth that you carry within you is resonated and is amplified, by the depth and the beauty of nature, by just being in nature. It's so powerful, so magical, you don't need anything else. And of course, divinity holds, space for your depth. Divinity like your God, anybody that you connect with, your guides, your guru, they hold space for your depth. So does your twin flame. And if you're not in contact with your twin, that's all right. Or maybe, at the moment you see that they were not ready to go deeper into the connection with you because they were still mirroring back to you your own inability to go deeper into a connection with yourself. But you can always go deeper with their higher self. Telepathically, you can always experience the depth of your connection. One other very interesting, important thing that divine feminines can do is connect with the moon. The moon is again synonymous with depth, with mystery, with beauty, with femininity. It's controlling the tides, impacting the tides of the waters. So automatically there is a depth. Automatically there is that element of, water. And the cycles of the moon, every cycle just, exciting different energy movements inside the human body. And taking the human being, through different phases, through different emotions, through different experiences, all very, very deep. So, connecting with the depth of who you are, indulging in things that really speak to your heart, where you can go all in with abandon, no restrictions, this is what will really set you free. The divine feminine is a wild spirit, is a free spirit. She is not a spirit which is controlled and curtailed, and she's not a good girl, so to speak. societally acceptable and all of that, it doesn't mean that you go create a ruckus. No, she's very pristine. I mean, I hope that is obvious, in how I'm explaining this, and you also know it in your hearts, right? So, yeah, I mean, just let yourself go. This is the spirit of surrender. This is the spirit of going deep. Be in connections which hold the space for your depth. If they don't hold that space, don't waste your energy in trying to explain yourself to somebody, in trying to find that resonance in other people, that, oh God, why don't you understand me? Don't even do that much. Just understand yourself. I hope this helped you. If you want to book a one on one session with me, my email address is imacompletelife@gmail.com. You can email me for that. And I'm also planning an inner child workshop very soon in the month of December, which will be about like a 2 hour long workshop. We'll go very deep into a few aspects, of your inner child and your relationship with your mother and your father. And you will also receive an inner child subliminal track that I will be creating. And it'll be a very affordable workshop, so you can join in if you want to do this. I recently conducted this workshop for a group of women, and we had like I received amazing reviews, and people went really, really deep. And this is all coming in from my experiences, from what I have experienced, from what I have researched, from what I have attended in various places, as well in the last couple of years. And I was just happy and excited that it worked so well. So I thought, why not just also introduce this, on the channel? Because twin flames have inner child wounds. We all human beings have inner child wounds, but it's an important part, it's an important aspect of the journey to heal this. So this workshop will definitely help you go deeper and have healing, provide healing to your inner child, create a relationship with your inner child, help you go deeper into that relationship with your inner child. It will be activity based as well as meditation based. So and you also receive the subliminal track, so you can continue to sort of bask in the healing of the inner child by listening to the subliminal track and the list of affirmations. So, have a beautiful, wonderful day, guys. If you're interested in the workshop, you can email me. And I'm yet to decide the date of the workshop. It will be on a Sunday in the month of December. Definitely before the Christmas, time, so that people are able to come in and they're able to join in. I have some travel lined up, so I'm still trying to figure out what date it will be. But if you want to do it, for sure you should come. For sure, it will be a great investment of your time. All right. Have a lovely day. Take care. Bye.